Kelly, it's good to see you again here.
Yeah, great to be here.
On Wednesday, Texans can finally begin signing up for school vouchers. What do parents need to have handy? What do you expect them to do? What's this going to look like?
Yeah, it's kind of exciting. I mean, as somebody that's been a supporter of education freedom in the state for 30 years.
It's finally here.
It's finally here. Hard fought battle, and it's here, and parents get to participate. Literally 9 o'clock on February 4th, and they'll need an ID. You know, if there's special needs, they'll need that identification, that what we call in public schools, they call an IEP, but to show us that they have to have proof of that, proof of citizenship. And then one of the things we need, because we don't have an income tax in the state of Texas, which I don't want, I voted to make sure we don't have that income tax, we will need your tax returns because of the criteria is involved that the legislature adopted for prioritizing the financial resources.
So they'll have to upload their 1040 or whatever it is?
Correct.
Just to show how much they make and
Yes, because there is criteria there. What we want to do is prioritize low income and those with special needs. And so those documents that prove that will need to be available along with an ID to make sure you're a U.S. citizen, resident of Texas.
What do you need to prove citizenship for my child? I mean, birth certificate or what?
Typically, your
passport?
An ID. A passport would be helpful. Driver's license, so that type of information, just the ID. And then we have connections. We've worked with both Trump administration and DPS and others that we're able to do a lot of that
just
through the work that we've already connected with. Yeah.
What do you expect things to be like Wednesday morning when this happens? You said you don't want a rush to the website because this is open for 6 weeks. Parents have plenty of time to sign up.
Correct, and so it's going to run from February 4th to March 17th, and so there's no first come, first serve. So you don't have to rush. Any time during that period, you're going to be on equal footing based on the legislation, which prioritizes it based on low income and special needs, and then we go from there. So anytime during that period of time, but there are a lot of people excited about it. I can tell you, I probably get 2 or 3 phone calls a day with excitement about it, both from schools and parents, and so there's a lot of excitement, and I think we'll have a good registration, and we have a number of schools that are participating.
Well, based on the number of schools participating right now, how many parents do you expect to sign up? I know there's money for 100,000 kids, but what do you expect? 5, 10, 25,000? What?
Well, and the numbers are going to vary because of the values are going to vary, and so we want to sell out. I've said that from day one that we want to sell out the program.
But this is the first year. What's realistic?
It is, and realistic. I think we'll sell out based on what we're seeing.
You think so?
I do, and the funds vary. How many will we be able to help with? Well, it just depends. How many are going to be at that 30,000 level? How many are going to be at that 10,400 level? How many are going to be at the 2,000 level? So what we don't know is, what grouping are we going to be dealing with, and how much is going to go to those with, special needs and special, and then others. So the numbers are very difficult to get at. You can kind of go with that 10,000 number divided by that $1 billion, which is the largest in the nation. Yeah. So it's exciting times.
More than 1,400 private schools already signed up. I think you said more are continuing to sign up. If I'm a parent, I'm excited about this, and I get in there on Wednesday to register my child, but I see that my private school choice, 1 and 2, aren't even participating. What do I do?
Well, I would contact them, but you can start looking today. So we're loading that up so you can look and see who is participating, and you still need to be in communication with those schools. I think most parents are going to at least visit a school or contact the school before they just go online and randomly select schools that are on the list. The exciting thing in our weekly phone calls and weekly updates on this is that we're seeing great diversity in the schools participating, both geographically and those and financially. And so it's really cool. And I've been traveling the state, visiting a lot of those schools, especially in our urban low-income areas where we really want to promote the program, and there's just some great things going on that we're going to continue to improve upon.
Of the 1,400 private schools already signed up, how many of these only offer pre-K?
So we do have a large portion that are pre-K, and of course the prioritization here is that K through 12 that we're looking at. But it's no surprise. There's just a lot more pre-K programs in the state than there are. We have roughly 4,000 private schools in the state of Texas, and there's just a lot more pre-K available. And the numbers that they signed up with was kind of wild because the numbers are pretty high on the pre-K.
The money doesn't have to just be used for private school education. This is one thing that you guys like to talk about here. But can a parent apply for the money, use it for dyslexia tutoring, and still send that student to public school?
Sure. Or they can. There's tutoring services that are registered there. One of the things I've been doing is going career and technology. So your private school may not have training to be an electrician, but your son or daughter wants to be an electrician. Well, there's a lot of flexibility in those funds. So you can use those funds in various ways for the education. So you could use, if you get the $10,400 roughly, you can use part of that for your private school, but then you use part of it to go and, if you have a 16-year-old who wants to learn how to fly, well, we have career and technology down in Waco. You can learn how to be a pilot at 16.
But if my child has an issue, or I decide I want my child to be in tutoring, but still want them to go to the public school in my neighborhood that I enjoy, I can still apply for this and use that for tutoring and still go to public school?
You still have to be selected, and so there is that prioritization there, and it is meant for those that are looking for alternatives in the education. And so it is prioritization based on, like I said, special needs, and then they give us other criteria, which is why we got to have that information up front. And then, again, I expect to sell out, and it just depends where that criteria is going, what groups are those going to go to.
If I qualify, though, financially, and my child has a special needs, but I still enjoy my public school, can I use that voucher money to help out with tuition or something else, but stay in public school?
So it's going to be a lower portion. So you're talking about the $2,000 range, where if you need tutorial services or others. And so it is going to be at that lower level.
It wouldn't be the full $10,000?
Correct, no.
Okay.
Because you're already getting service there. It would just be kind of a subsidized $2,000, as it is with homeschool. Gotcha. Homeschool gets that $2,000 level.
Attorney General Paxton came out with an opinion the other day saying private entities that have DEI programs should not receive any state money. How many private schools is this going to disqualify?
Well, I'm not sure on the DEI side. We addressed historically underutilized businesses within the first couple of months that I was there. So that was the DEI that was going on within our agency, and so we addressed that early on. Yeah. But there are, in our investigation, and we had staff look, because there are limitations on who we can enter contracts with. I voted on a lot of those. Those that are anti-Israel, those are connected to the Chinese Communist Party. And so we looked at those statutes as well and had our staff do some research, and there were some conflicts. And we're addressing those conflicts and addressing those areas to make sure that we don't enter into a contract or send taxpayer dollars to, entities that may be friendly to terrorist organizations or friendly to the Chinese Communist Party. Yeah. So we began addressing that early on because of my experience in the legislature, knowing we have statutes that say, yes, we're going to implement this school choice program, but we also have statutes saying we cannot enter into a contract as the state with certain entities, and so we look to address that conflict.
Yeah, I remember we talked about Chinese government and other entities, but the DEI thing is brand new here. Have any schools dropped out? Has this disqualified anybody?
Not that we're aware. We have not seen that at all within the schools. Where we've seen is that, and the courts have ruled on that in higher education areas, but in the private schools, typically we're not seeing that in the private school arena.
I've seen, and I know a number of private schools that have diversity and inclusion practices and programs in their schools. They're private schools, they can have that, right? But the opinion from the AG says no state money's going to go to these places. Is that going to muddy up the voucher program just as you guys really kick it off here?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, we're looking out for that, and so literally from day one, we were looking at where there was conflicts with other statutes.
Even with DEI, though?
And so, yeah, I mean, we've sought his opinion on that. We appreciate his support for what we're doing and the job we're doing, and gave us the comfort to continue doing what we had already started doing, is looking at those issues that could be conflict with existing statutes.
And no schools have dropped out or been disqualified because of that so far?
Correct.
Okay. I've asked you this before, but let me ask you again now that we're getting closer. Is the state going to consider ways to incentivize private schools who haven't yet signed up? 4,000 private schools in Texas, 1,400 have signed up. How do you get the rest of those to sign up so me as a parent really has school choice?
Well, I think I believe in markets. I'm a small business owner, started my business from nothing, and believe markets work. And what we've already seen are there were some schools that were hesitant, but as they see their competition joining and signing up for this, those numbers are continuing to grow. So I do think the market's going to have a significant impact on that. When you're looking at two different schools and the financial resources needed between those two schools is not that different, then you make your selection. But all of a sudden, if you have one that signs up and now there's a $10,000 potentially difference in where your child may want to go to school, it does sway you a little bit. So we think the market dynamics, which work in the business world, will work in this area as well. And we're already seeing that with the number of schools that are joining.
We're about to open this up to parents here, but here we are, 4,000 schools across the state, 1,400 have signed up. Is that where you thought we'd be?
We're very pleased with where we're at. We're very pleased with the steps along the programs. I mean, we've had some hurdles we've had to overcome, but we were able to put together an incredible team, some great partners with Odyssey that have had experience and stumbled, and we wanted some of that experience, and we've brought folks on that are passionate about the program. And what I'm pleased with is I get far more compliments on what we're doing, how we're implementing it, how well we're listening. And we're really trying to listen everybody involved in this program and apply what they're telling us. And so we're trying to learn from everybody and implement those things.
Let me ask you, let's talk politics here just for a moment before I let you go. You got a big endorsement from Governor Abbott, huge endorsement here, but I saw an early poll out in this race shows you trailing former State Senator Don Huffines. What does internal polling say about where you stand right now?
Yeah, we're in really good shape. And so, you get what you pay for, and there were no crosstabs on that. And so we like our numbers, and we like where the race is at. Love the fact that the governor not only has endorsed the campaign, but he's in the last couple of weeks has been at a couple of events with us. In fact, just last week he was talking about, I'm the only one that's going to actually have experience at the job. And he was telling the audience there, that was a good audience at an event that we had, that we've accomplished in 6 months what takes years of people to accomplish within an agency. And I think if you look at our track record, we're not a lot about rhetoric. We are a lot about results. And if you look at our results, we're off to a good start, and we feel really good about the campaign.
Kelly, good to see you.
Great seeing you.